most important technology trend is in enterprises today, which are undergoing big digital transformation across their business processes. And artificial intelligence and machine learning form the core components of that digital transformation. Digital transformation is being applied across many functions in the enterprise, such as IT, R&D, and even functions such as finance, HR, legal, and so on. Today, I'm very pleased to host Udo Würtz, Chief Data Officer and Fellow at Fujitsu, which is our most strategic partner at Juniper. So, Udo, welcome.
Thank you, Raj, and it's really an honor to be here and talk to all of those high-skilled people and see all the latest innovations from Juniper. So I feel very honored to be your guest here.
Well, thank you. Very happy to have you here. Now, I have talked to many enterprise customers who are going through such a transformation and trying to apply machine learning and AI. But they find it very hard to do it themselves and have an AI solution on-prem to be able to apply that for this digital transformation. So I'm curious, how are you guys helping your customers go through that transformation?
That's a good question. And I think the problem with AI, if you would like to say so, is that it's very hard to determine the right size of an infrastructure. So it could be that your investment is too large, which means you're spending a lot of money for nothing. At the same point in time, you can make the wrong decision to invest in an infrastructure which doesn't fit. So therefore, what we have developed at Fujitsu together with you guys, with Juniper, is an AI test drive. So which means customers can use this free of charge to bring their own AI projects to life and to see how the infrastructure behaves. How long does it take to do all of those trainings with a specific amount of data, inference time, latency, and all of those stuff. And this really helps customer to make the right decision to invest the right money into the right infrastructure at the end of the day. We have 2 AI test drives available. One is within the European Union and at a data center in Frankfurt. And the other is located in London at Xterra. And this is where we are going forward, also demonstrating how we can train models in different countries and bring it then from one side to the other and finalize the model so that we can do all of those inference at the end of the day and sharing the data between countries. So that's what we are doing there.
That's very good. I like the name AI Test Drive. It's very apt because now customers can try it out. So as you expose this AI Test Drive platform to many customers, what are the networking requirements that you're discovering?
Of course, it has to be fast. That is very important to make sure that the data can feed into the system as fast as possible. We are focusing on open standards. So this is really a very important topic as well. We have different layers for the storage, for the management layers, for the user interfaces, for the training phases, and so on. So this is what we are targeting for and really making sure that the network really fits all of those requirements.
Is there any way we can help?
So what we have done together with Juniper is we really have implemented the complete Juniper network stack to this AI test drive. And on one hand, we have established all the layers that we need to what I said, doing all the management of those devices, the servers. At the end, it's a containerized environment, right? So we are using SUSE for this, SUSE Rancher. We have storage units on this, and of course the network stack. And the network stack is really playing a major role as the ports, which is a technology term, saying that we have to provide capabilities to those containers, which are by themselves running the AI workloads. And those technologies, those infrastructure, they have to fit very perfectly together and really making sure that AI training can be efficient as possible. So what we are focusing now is to enhance this type of infrastructure with your AI capabilities, which are really remarkable, right? So I have never seen a network where I can ask the network what's going on if something goes wrong. And the network is telling me where's the issue. And so we can fix it very quickly. And also making sure that the configuration is almost on that level that we have planned and considered when we have started with the AI infrastructure, right? With abstract technologies that you have and all of those types. So this is really great to see. And this is, from my perspective, really unique. Of course, we are sitting here and talking with Juniper, so of course we would say Juniper is great. But honestly, it is great. And this is really outstanding. It's not only a piece of network where you have some cables, it's really intelligent. And I think this makes the difference. You know, there are a lot of switches out there in the market. But the AI on top of it really makes the difference also to companies with respect to the lack of staff and skills. Right. So we see this everywhere. I'm from Europe, and in Europe we have those big issues. And even if you would like to hire all of those specialists, they're simply not available on the market.
Not enough skills.
Yeah. And honestly, they will not be available over the next years. And therefore, you must have intelligence on your system. Doesn't matter as the server, as the storage, but especially also for the network layer, which is super complex, and where an issue may have a significant impact to your production, right? And I think this is really where you are on a extremely good way.
No, thank you. I think you pointed out really well that as part of providing the networking infrastructure for artificial intelligence and ML workloads, we are also applying it by providing this conversational interface. You can communicate with the network infrastructure in natural language, ask the questions and get responses,
yes,
including troubleshooting. That's a very good point.
Like ChatGPT, so to speak.
That's right. Yeah, apply generative AI in that style. So going back to the AI test drive platform you mentioned,
yes,
can you share a little bit more about how your customers are using that platform?
Yes. So, of course, we have a lot of customer projects meanwhile. We have a customer which is operating highways as an example, and where we have in the European Union the so-called AFIR, which is Alternative Fuel Infrastructure Regulation. So, which means you have to think about infrastructure to recharge electric vehicles as an example, and much more. But to do this, first of all, you have to identify those vehicles and then think about where charging stations should be implemented. At the same point in time, those use cases will also end in a situation where you have to bring additional services on the table. Mm-hmm. It starts with surveys, but also what about bookings of hotels, restaurants, and whatever it could be, right? And also exchanging data with other countries. Maybe that's an assumption right now. Therefore, right now they are focusing on one country. But this is really where we have a clear understanding when we are doing testings. In this example, we have a close collaboration with Intel. And when we have done the first considerations for this customer, what should be the right infrastructure the customer should target for, without having any data from the customer? It was really about the technology itself. We have determined and estimated the right size of the infrastructure at the AI test drive. And this has worked. And Intel gave us support from the HQ in Santa Clara, and also from Portland. Mm-hmm. And we have done all of those testings, and we achieved significant improvements also in the detection. As an example, we have done a Xeon 3 test on the platform, 30 detections per second, which is okay-ish. But now with the Xeon 4, we have achieved more than 5,000 detections per second. And we have done those testings on the AI test drive together with the Intel guys. And this was really a clear demonstration how we can improve AI with those capabilities. We are now focusing a use case in the healthcare field to detect people in an emergency situation. Mm-hmm. This is in a very early phase right now. This is together with a partner where we are focusing on how we can go ahead with this use case, how it should look like. What we also do with the AI test drive is having applications where customers can play with. So sentiment analysis, as an example. You're receiving a feedback from a customer, and you have to judge, is this positive, negative? In case it's negative, somebody has to take care of this. but also analysis of calls, as an example. Think about a call center. You would like to improve the quality when in conversation, so that you can really identify this was positive, this was negative, this is how we could improve this, and so on. So it's a mixture, so to speak, projects and also playgrounds, so to speak, for customers where they can do the first steps with AI.
That's very impressive. Now, just to switch gears, I want to go back to networking requirements.
Yes.
There's a lot of debate right now in the industry whether we should use Ethernet or InfiniBand for this machine learning workload clusters. What is your take on that?
I'm a big fan of open standards, sorry to say. And honestly, so which means Ethernet, right? So, and honestly, in my opinion, the markets are moving in so different ways. Now we are facing large language models because of course, and maybe also discussions regarding where's the data and public cloud service, etc. A lot of customers are focusing on pre-trained models in on-prem environment, in a hybrid environment. And we're facing an issue with the existing infrastructure. To the opposite, it's super fast. So we have 100 gig connectivity between all the servers in our cluster, which is a Kubernetes cluster steered by SUSE Rancher. We have NetApp storage in the background with 200 gig connectivity. It's really goes like this, does this. And this is really perfect. So, and what I would like to say is, you don't know what will be the workload tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, you have focused on a specific technology. You invested a huge amount of money. And for the time when you have done this, of course, the performance was perfect. But maybe tomorrow something will change. And all of a sudden, you realize that the infrastructure of yesterday is probably okay, but maybe a different one might be better. So therefore, I'm really focusing on open standards that you can connect with the existing infrastructure of your company, where you don't have to think about how to bring the data from here to here and so on. And this is really what I would recommend.
No, that's good. I think because you pointed out a very important thing. Ethernet is open, so you can source from multiple vendors. Technology is constantly evolving. Ethernet has been around for so long now. It continues to evolve with new functionality, new speeds and feeds. We are also finding out to meet the requirements of large language model training that you mentioned.
Yes.
Ethernet can provide non-blocking high throughput.
Yeah.
And we can do lots of techniques based on existing Ethernet standards. So really looking forward to continue to push this open technology because we believe in open ecosystem.
Yeah, and in our discussions, in 42% of all our customer meetings, customers are talking about large language models.
Right.
And in the we had the chat before, right? And we had last week the tech community in Europe, and we have demonstrated how to train an LLM even on a workstation, which is not a big thing, right? Of course, it could be more complex and so on, and then you need maybe some servers to do the job. But what I would like to say is, you also have to think about what's the performance that you really need for your use case. Right. Not everybody wants to build a software for self-driving cars. A lot of companies that I know, they would like to do quality assurance, as an example, or fraud detection, or AutoML, and all of those technologies. And in, I would say, more than 90% of the cases, you don't need this high sophisticated, high-end infrastructure with all those very expensive components. Those customers, they have really, and this is the majority, they can really focus on open standards.
So apart from the performance, right, another thing that customers worry about is cost of operational experience. So how do you think we can lower the cost of operational expenses when it comes to AI?
Yeah, that's a good topic. So we see a lot of automation. Ansible as an example, right? So where you guys also have all the connections, so we can steer the overall infrastructure stack from an AI perspective as well as from a network perspective. This is really playing a major role in this respect. What we have done on our platform is we have implemented additional modules, as an example, Kubeflow. Kubeflow is a tool where you can implement a lot of processes, workflows, where you can bring the daily business of a data scientist into the system, making sure even if you have teams of data scientists and they are doing trainings with a huge amount of data, you can separate those data against each other. So they cannot see the data, one team cannot see the data from the other team, as an example, which is important. They can play with the data, they can train models, they can bring it to production, they can push the button, and then it's published to the edge, where we are doing the inference and then grabbing the data back and then doing the training of the model again. And I think this is really also important for customers, right? Well, because it's not only the single use case that you have.
That's right.
And for one use case, you need additional external specialists. For another one, you have internal specialists. And this is where you need also a management layer on top of AI. Again, here, I'm a big fan of open standards, open source. The software is open source. We give recommendations to customers how to install it. And in case they are going for reference architecture such as AI Test Drive, they will get it for free from us.
That's right.
And they can do the installation by their own. And then they know how to do AI and how to bring this to life.
Well, this has been wonderful. So to close, can you say something about how our partnership could evolve and how can we continue to help you?
Yeah, it's simply great. So I know when we had the first meeting here, and I said, oh, well, Juniper, we will see the latest switches or something like this. And it was really mind-blowing in the sense that you started talking about AI and how the network is steered with AI and all of those technologies. And I said, wait a minute, so you don't want to count ports anymore or something like this? And we had 2 days, and it was not enough. And we have really a great collaboration. I'm from Europe and doing the European business. It's in Europe, it's perfect. We have here regular meetings in the US, so we are getting all the insights of the latest technologies, which helps us a lot. Also giving the right recommendations to customers, what kind of invest they should do, and really making sure they spend the money wisely to the right infrastructure. So this is really great. And from my personal perspective, I think Juniper is really at the forefront of technology, especially when it comes to AI and steering the overall stack with AI. And also one comment here in this respect, let's face it, you guys have done a great job with the network. We are doing the same thing with service and storage. Everything, everywhere is AI.
Comes together. So Udo, thank you for joining us and sharing your insights. This has been a wonderful chat. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, Raj. And it's really always, as I said, a honor to be here. And I'm really looking forward for the next year, what's new on the table. So this year was perfect. And yeah, looking forward next time. Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you.